We're going to see if they can take it in just a second here as we are ready to kick things into action. And the pistol is already live. Take it away, gents.
All right, well, we'll have Envy here on the defender side to start things off on Ascent in this best out of 3. This is still looking at the winner's match in Group C. Envy holding their grounds on the A side, dropping 3 to start things off. While the last 2 are still getting pushed forward by mummAy, and it's going to be the trade that comes in, and Envy takes that pistol. And Lex, just to add on to what I was saying, I just looked at the result here on a spike.gg, is that the team that they lost to and got dismantled on this map of Ascent actually was against SSG. So Space Station Gaming, 13-6. So they haven't had good results for Spot Up at this point, but they're still choosing this map in this best out of 3.
Interesting. You know, my long-winded analysis of the mechanics, they're kind of lost in the confusion of that pistol round. Unfortunately, we missed half of it, but that was a cat split coming out from Spot Up, quickly foiled. Envy, I think it was Caboose over there, cat picking up 2 quick kills. So Envy gets a clean and decisive win here in the pistol. And for Spot Up, I mean, it's not, certainly we have so much more Valorant with the play. And Kanpeki gets a free kill over on crashies. Caught out of position over there at A main, was unsuspecting of the Jett push, and the A push is actually ensuing. Bunny finds another one on the mummAy, who's pressured by the breach. Oh man, the collapse on the A bomb site has already been thorough at this point. Envy is suddenly in a 3v5 retake with the bomb being planted, Van Silly.
This is actually pretty crazy, and that's how you capitalize on small mistakes, right? Spot Up, getting that first kill, and like, look, let's just rushing to the site, opening onto the second one, but the retake is coming back very quickly for Envy as Food and FNS go to work. So Figment is going to be the last man standing, does have the shock dart set up. Is it going to hit? It does hit Caboose, but to 2 HP, and unfortunately cannot get the kill where he forces other individual 1 versus 1s. He gets pushed forward by Food with the frenzy, and Envy makes it 2-0, but 2 kills, a nice opener, and a spike plant builds that economy into their gun round.
Yeah, with how the pistol round went, you can't be too mad about that eco right there. You got 2 kills, you got a bomb plant, a little bit of extra money, building up your ult points. And at this point, you want to just have a mental reset and like, look, okay, Envy's going to work a bonus. They're going to have a bunch of SMGs. Let's win this and let's get the half started. So right here for Spot Up, I mean, it looks like they're going to maybe work a little bit of a slow default, or they're spreading a map a bit. We see 3 players poised towards top mid in the warm-up zone, but you know, I think for Spot Up, you know, you have a Killjoy in play here. You've got a Jett, you've got a Breach, and you've got a Sova. There's plenty of tools here on Ascent to absolutely, I think, you know, pressure Envy in maybe ways that they haven't seen before. You know, I don't necessarily think that the Breach is necessarily utilized to the same extent in NA as you see in EU and other regions. But I do really, I mean, we were talking about it a lot yesterday, Van Silly, where I love seeing more and more Breach play from NA because it just seems like event after event we're seeing, you know, more creative maybe is not the word, but certainly some more dynamic approaches to the game. We saw Gen G yesterday running a lot of retake setups with a Reyna. You know, I think when the Breach buffs finally come in, you know, these teams will be thankful for having put the time in and learned the agents already. So for Spot Up now, you know, kind of coming back to this situation, I think they're just trying to feel out, see how Envy's going to be playing the map. And Caboose actually taking a bold peek off Cat. Finds 1 on a Rustun. And now we have a 5-on-4 clock ticking away. Only 40 seconds left, and crashies over here at wide is a problem.
Big flash.
Flashes come through, and 2 huge kills, and several more points of damage coming out from that Spectre. Doesn't get the kill, but now it's a 3-on-2. 30 seconds left, and Spot Up is jammed up in A main.
Oh yeah, you definitely had some assists there from that flash that came through that allowed crashies coming out from the wine area to get those 2 kills. And it started well, actually. I thought from the position that they had from Breach and they had the 3 players towards back mid, he could maybe go for the fault line up on Catwalk. That would have probably stunned 3 guys. But now they have no choice but to try to rush in blindly into the site with no information. And the crossfire is already set up there for Caboose and FNS. So that's 3 unanswered round. Another one added on top of that with the bonus round that Envy had. And I was going to say, going into this matchup for Spot Up, one of the key things that they will have to do as a team, especially on the attacker side, is try to minimize the economy of Envy at that point, especially not giving the opportunity for mummAy to get an operator for this map. mummAy is one of those players that's going to switch over to a smoke player on a map like this, where he usually plays a different agent on others. So he's going to be opting as an Omen on Ascent, or if they have to play Bind, then he'll do it on Bind as well. But he's been like one of the best Omens, if not the only operator Omen that I've seen so far in this game in North America, and is able to put those numbers down on a defender side on this map of Ascent.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those factors in Valorant that has been diminished a bit just because of the op nerfs and the price changes to the weapon. We don't see the ops coming out nearly as early as we were before, which some people may be dismayed by that, but I think it's a little bit refreshing as a caster, not just as a player, because, you know, we're seeing players being forced into different roles in this crashies pushed the top mid through a main, just finding a free kill over there at bottom mid. This is an anti-eco, mind you. So Envy just willing to get a little greedy, willing to get a little pushy, knowing that they're not going to be threatened too much. And crashies just farming a bit before he gets taken down by Bunny. Unfortunately, forfeiting the Phantom there may be an issue. But mummAy actually is wisely coming over to cover that weapon. Make sure that if they do want to recover it, it's at least going to cost them. As I say that, though, Bunny picks up a second one.
Yeah, so they'll salvage these 2 Phantoms.
Yeah, both Phantoms are now being picked up by Spot Up, and suddenly this is a... Kanpeki doesn't have it yet, but definitely a situation where you don't need to overextend and be feeding these guys weapons, but I think that's the motivation now is to make sure they don't carry them into the next round. Kaboose denies both. Well played to Envy. 6 kills, 0 deaths for the man, and Envy's off to a strong 4-0 start here on Ascent.
I feel there was a mixed play there, or misplay from Bunny and Kanpeki. As you know, Envy continued to press forward and really want to chase after the frags, which is surprising because you're going against an eco round from Spot Up at that point. But when Kanpeki actually tried to fall back and pick up the Phantom that was left behind at the orb, then Bunny tried to push by himself to try to win a 2 versus 1 towards back mid. Of course, in his point of view, he doesn't know how many players are behind and flanking, but, you know, you have better chances in numbers if you actually just waited a few seconds for your teammate to pick up that rifle and maybe turn around over. So that's going to be 4 unanswered for Envy. We hear an op that rang early into the round as well, but Tucker is looking to get this control towards mid side first. Big flashes coming through, pushing him back towards the A site as well for Envy. So this allows Spot Up to finally get a little bit more map control for a more concise split into the A side. So Figment is looking to split up here towards the A side first to allow his teammates to move up on Catwalk, and Tucker's the one that's going to move in forward to get the 2 first openings. Paranoid inside the site, a nice headshot onto Food, and we do have a Paranoid player in the back of the site, but Crashy's now back to see in full 20/20 vision, looking back towards the generator, gets the first headshot onto Bunny. He's looking for that trade. They're looking to trade out Bunny at that point, and that's Tucker looking for that quad, and he's looking for the ace finally, and now it's just going to be one more player. FNS on a 3 versus 1. You do have one that's 50 HP for Spot Up. The spike has been planted, and he's going to have to go here through this window. Thankfully, from that initial battle, when Tucker got that headshot into this window area, it got broken. So FNS could still lurk around and have the surprise factor as a sliding door has been closed for him. But look at how passively Spot Up is playing. They probably still have these shock darts positions from the way that the spike has been planted. It's planted to where you can't really get spammed by a sliding door if you're in the middle of a gunfight, but at the same time, if you keep your Sova alive, then you could actually have Figment throw those shock darts into the site. But FNS only gets 1 kill and gets traded off here by Kanpeki, and that's the op that we heard early in the round, and we hope that Kanpeki is going to continue to maintain this weapon throughout the first half to try to catch up in this game.
Yeah, and that's a huge round coming out from Tucker, the cat split. Finding each and every one of those challenges, collecting headshots, well played to him. Spot Up, you know, I was going to lead into this round wondering if they had won it. You know, Envy having a commanding start like the way they did. We talked a bit in the pregame about, you know, preparing for this match, especially having a day in advance, knowing what who your opponent is and what maps you're probably going to be playing, right?
Yeah.
You know you're going into this match picking Ascent. I would expect that at least on the attack side of the map, you have a game plan. You have some maybe a pocket strat or 2 that you can bust out when you really need a round, right? That you can counter strat, maybe exploit something that you researched in the defense of Envy.
Yep.
So I think in this attack half, despite the fact that they lost pistol, lost the bonus, and were down 4-0, that round right there was pretty promising, if only for the fact that they have a round on the board, but it was a full gun round by. So being able to push Envy off these angles is something that you mentioned, which is mummAy having an operator is a threat in any case, against any matchup. I mean, this guy is a talented opper. He's somebody who, despite shifting around agents and roles, is definitely going to be a threat at all times. And so, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that. The fact is, Envy is very comfortable. They're going to be playing aggressive. We saw on the anti-eco pushing through a main, looking for kills, you know, peeking off Catwalk dry. That's Kaboose. Several times, you know, already in this game, Envy has been absolutely disrespecting their opponents. We'll see whether or not Spot Up is able to punch him back in the mouth and make this work. And here it is, Kaboose holding an off angle on Cat, collecting 2 big headshots and getting out successfully. That is the strength of Reyna right there, but he accepts a shock dart to the face. in exchange for his troubles. Now a 4-on-2 situation, spot up 20 seconds.
time.
They're going to opt to save this, right?
Yeah.
There's no chance you're going to put the bomb down. And you know what? This is why I started the round out
10
talking
seconds
about
left.
their strategy and what they could maybe get, you know, a leg up on Envy, because it doesn't seem like Envy's giving him any of these opportunities, right?
Yeah.
They're blowing up the game plan, if there is one, before the round even really comes to fruition. So for spot up now, unfortunately, I want to maybe touch on the fact that if you're going into a matchup like this as an underdog, man, so you kind of almost play a little scared. Like even in that 3-on-1, they're all hiding in the back of A main. You're like just playing super proper.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing, but it definitely seems as though if you're getting caught off guard by brazen plays like Caboose off Catwalk and there's no trades coming through, there's got to be some hesitation. Some maybe players aren't warmed up yet. Maybe they're not confident. So as these rounds start to pile up in the favor of Envy, I wonder whether or not, oh my goodness, mummAy walking through the mid smoke, trying to find an angle. Luckily, he gets jump spotted, pushed off. No kills will come their way, Van Silly, but I hope to see in these coming rounds, I guess, spot up maybe working with a more decisive plan, because it seems like they're just going back and forth between A main and Catwalk, looking for an opening that isn't there right now.
And so far, from what I've learned from Envy's playstyle on the defender side too, is wherever they're going to play FNS and where he puts his trap wires and his camera, they're always going to push forward on the opposite side of the map. And there you go. It works in their favor, at least for Rustun and Spawn Up to start things off, because they did not expect just a dry peek towards his B main. So the first kill comes in. You have to run it back, coming in here from Food to try to get some information, and they have a late lurk from Kanpeki at mid. So that allows for them to actually open up inside this B site. But the thing is, you do have from the shadows that came in from mummAy into the back B. So it's just going to be a solo hold on the A side, and Spot Up reads into this. So you're going to rush back into the A side. The trap wires and the camera, you hope, is going to slow them down enough to give a chance for his two players, his two teammates from FNS, to rotate back from B. Camera now gets blinded. They know the execution's coming in. He's playing towards hell, so he doesn't want to show himself yet. And he just wanted to have one single kill, and it doesn't pay off. So a great way for a Spot Up here to get the entry frags and to also force the rotation to take control of this side. One thing I think that Spot Up could do as well, looking at the later rounds, is that they should add a little bit more pressure on this mid side too, so that you force door to get closed on the B side, because they're playing Soul Turtle back into the site, as you were mentioning before, Lex. So allowing that to force players to guess a little bit of where the attackers are going is actually, you might get those moments just like we just saw from Kanpeki, where he's able to get some backstabs on some players rotating into angles where they don't expect a lurker.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bold rotate from Caboose, jumping out off Catwalk, collecting through market, like going for the rotate that he should be. But, you know, that lurk hop from Kanpeki, which I find that a little amusing that a Jett is lurking at me with an operator, but that's a story for another day. But I was just going to say, for me, I think that's a great round for Spot Up, because that just showed me exactly what I was talking about in terms of what they weren't doing before, right? They're spreading the map a bit, and they're willing to, you know, okay, we're getting pushed off of A main, that's fine, let's go back to B, right? Find a pick, let's collect ourselves, regroup, find a different plan of attack, and catch Envy off guard. And they've done that a couple times now. But Envy just is consistently playing in-your-face Valorant. They are taking the gunfights. They do not care who they are playing against. And Caboose is just showing rock-solid performance on that Reyna so far.
That's exactly what I was telling you, right? They put the cameras up this time on the B side, so they add pressure onto the A main instead. And when it's not on A main, but the camera's still on B, they're going to add pressure on Catwalk instead. So there's two actually big obstacles versus Envy right now when you're trying to press to a site that's stacked, is how do you get rid of Caboose? Because he's getting the first bloods multiple times so far and always dismisses away. And the second one, how do you push then mummAy off the operator in a different location that allows you to get the map rotation and the map control? And it starts off here, finally, as I was saying before, they're breaking that trap wire towards mid side, and what happens after? You have the sliding door that gets closed, and now you're forcing players to turtle back into the site. You see mummAy slowly rotating over because they're guessing. They don't have that information anymore. They don't have that map control, despite them having that man advantage for the defender side. So now they're pushing in as a team, and Figment gets that frag onto crashies. Now you have a weakened A side, and a three-man push from Spot Up inside, but it's still Caboose that's alive, that gets the kill, dismisses back, waits for his teammate to rotate from the flank on Catwalk, but at least his spike gets planted. It's a 4-on-2, a big round for them to try to take, but they don't get anything more than a spike plant, not even an extra kill. And it's going to be 6-2 for Envy.
Wow. You know what? You're absolutely right. I think that Spot Up, the way that they're running their default now, you know, the first few rounds we didn't really see that style of play, but you're right. Pushing up mid, clearing a tripwire, dropping the cam, just making it sure that Envy doesn't have that extra bit of information to make correct decisions, making them guess a bit. Keep 2 players over at B. But you know what hasn't changed throughout the entirety of this match? Is Caboose and his level of play. He is just death matching right now. This guy is taking gunfights everywhere. He picks up a 4K in the previous gun round. We have another good buy coming out from Spot Up. You know what? It's 6-2. They're on a loss streak now.
What kind of good buy?
What do you mean? I mean, they got 4 ultimates. They have a full buy here, and they've got an operator. Like, this is it. This is...
And exactly, I just hope that despite
right?
all that and the guns and the ultimates that they have, it's not going to be like a goodbye one word where they just get dismantled by Envy on the defense again.
I see. Okay,
that
fair.
jokes.
Oh my goodness. I'm only 30, man. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna forget about that for a second. Let's get back over here to Caboose, because this guy is just snapping headshots. And any moment now, I have a feeling he's gonna get challenged. There it is. The pressure comes in, but now he has help from Food, who comes in, collects the headshots, and denies the cat push. 3 players coming out of A main now. They are absolutely in a chokehold between Food and Caboose, and crashies is even awaiting on the A bomb site. And this is looking rough for Spot Up here, and wow, this round is over so fast. Food with 3, Caboose with 2, Envy now up 7-2. Dominant first half coming out from the side of the boys in blue.
And you see from Caboose, or it doesn't even matter if it's Caboose that doesn't get a kill, but what's important here for Envy is that they're always set up for a trade where they want to play the aggressive angles. So when we're looking at long A, we had, for example, sometimes crashies inside line, sometimes Caboose inside line, but he always had a second player just at the entrance of A, so they could counter flash, they could go for trades, they could get the numbers advantage after that, surprising your opponents. That time on Catwalk, you saw it. We thought it was going to be Caboose getting another FB as a first blood, but as soon as he misses, who comes out? It's Food that comes out with a 2K of his own, while everybody's focused on trying to take down Caboose because he's been a thorn on their side. And once again, another first blood from Caboose, a rush coming in from Spot Up inside the A main that gets totally stopped, and on top of the hot hands and the dark covers, nobody's going to move forward past this archway of the A side, and the flank is already happening from the rest of Envy. They're going to hear the footsteps coming through. That's why you do see Rustun going back and watching that flank. But now they separate the defense. They separate the offense, rather, and Rustun only capitalizes on 1 kill, and Envy are just steamrolling on this first half.
I feel like Envy has been... You know what? Actually, I was going to say the entire half, Envy has never been surprised by one of these A pushes. But at the, I think it was the pistol, right? Or was the round after pistol, excuse me, where I believe the Spot Up called an A rush, and they caught some mistakes, caught some Envy players off guard, got a free bomb site, and it's like they want that to continue happening throughout the entirety of this half, or maybe they think that that's the game plan that they need to stick with. But either way, this A defense coming out from Envy is absolutely just destroying them every time they push up. And you know, unfortunately, like we were talking about several times now, there's not a whole lot of map presence coming out from Spot Up. The 2 players from Envy over at B are pretty bored, and they're rotating relatively early, just knowing that there's no mid pressure and the B main pressure is minimal. You know, I wonder whether or not, and you know, I was kind of the guy who was like, oh, you know, like having that extra the day before, having the time, having the demos in front of you, the VODs to go and research what your opponent likes to do. It could be that like researching their game plan and actually thinking about what strats they want to be running. The IGL at this point might be struggling to see why the plan isn't working, but Envy is just not giving them the opportunity over at A. So here we have it. B hit coming in from Spot Up at any moment now. mummAy finds the first, though, at an off angle from Bunny. Was not expecting a player at that position. Enemy Killjoy does come out, so this B play is planned and effective enough to at least push the Envy players off of the B bomb site. So we'll have to see a retake, but mummAy finds another one, and 2 players jump in. Caboose finds 1, FNS gets on the site before falling. And now it's a 4-on-2.
30 seconds left.
2 players from Spot Up are alive on the bomb site. That's Rustun finding 1 on the mummAy, who tries to push in with that ghost. He fails. Caboose finds 1 more before dying to Tucker. And now crashies is able to clean up. Coming up sidewalk with Food. And now a 9-2 dominant half from Envy is looking all but lost to Spot Up at this point. There's no light in this half to speak of when it comes to the game plan. And I wonder whether or not they're going to get an opportunity in this game to come back.
Yeah, they were looking for a game plan playing off 2 ultimates. They wanted to play the Killjoy ult and a Breach ultimate to try to break down maybe even towards the back of the B or even towards Market, depending which one goes down first. And I think it was just, again, a missed angle coming in from Bunny. which is why he got punished from the off by mummAy. But I feel aside from charging up here the ultimate to try to get some map control for spawn up, I feel what's missing is a little bit of fault lines to try to push back the Reyna that's always pushing aggressively towards Catwalk, or maybe the Operator, or somebody that's playing towards Wine. The Aftershock comes from time to time, but imagine if you combine an Aftershock with a fault line that dazes a guy in a position where maybe you could get these kills. Finally, we're starting to see these. Instead of these body peaks, you're starting to see flash entries coming up a little bit more for this early map control, but there's nothing else after that. You know the Operator's going to peek out, or at least somebody's going to peek out to contest you, but there was no second flash, there was no fault line, and now you lose a player. So in terms of this map control, yes, they're doing it with the bodies, but they're not using their utilities. Not only I'm talking about the breach, but they also have a Sova in the lineup. So if they want to clear out these corners on mid side on Catwalk, clear out the A main, use your Sova drone, or try to find those set arrows that's going to find that information of where your opponents could be hiding. Then you can capitalize on how you want to trade it and stuff later. Because right now you're just trying to go 50-50 on these body peaks, and you're losing the 50 because you're looking at the wrong angle. So it has not been successful for them at this point. And unfortunately, they don't get that on the attack. We finished with a 10-2 half for Envy on the first half, and this is probably going to be the fastest half we've watched so far in this tournament.
Yeah, this has been Farmville for Envy from the start, and legit, every single one of these players, even down to the players over at B who are kind of bored, FNS and mummAy, I think, like these guys are dominating. Like all of these players on Envy are firing on all cylinders, so if they can keep this up throughout the series, this is going to be a quick 2-0, I would imagine. You know, but before we get to that point, just peep the scoreboard here. We have Caboose, who really I spoke about it several times as being the fragger on this team, and there he is at 18-6, putting on a show. And even, you know, the impact frags that are coming out for this team, we saw the double off in that last round out of crashies and mummAy, but the threats are always present when you have players like that can operate like that. And wow, figment actually collecting a shock dart right away on the food. Oh no! But I don't know what's going on. crashies collects one on the Caboose. That's a team kill with the shock dart over at A main. So now it's a 3-on-5 suddenly with mummAy also on low HP. So this is a 3-on-5 that just, I don't even know what happened for Envy. They worked towards A main, took a heck of a lot of shock dart damage from both teams, and I guess stalled the rush enough to where Envy had to cancel. Now it's a 2v5 spot up. Suddenly, looking like they might win around here.
Yeah, and maybe that's the salvation, right? Taking the defender side finally, and you get this pistol, you might have a chance to come back. You bring that confidence, getting a flawless round would be even key if they're able to take mummAy down, who's low on HP at 33. Now with this pop flash, they're looking back towards this catwalk, but mummAy just holds the angle. Even with the recon dart, they might think that he fell back, and finally as the body peek comes forward, he does get one kill, so he's not going down without a fight. And now he's just looking to waste his opponent's utilities. So this is actually good. You're wasting the aftershock. You wasted a couple of flashes, so you're making it more expensive into the next. But I thought at that pistol, when they were rushing towards that A main for Envy, I thought it was going to be the same scenario as that second round where Spot Up pushed forward and you actually caught crashies with your dart in your hands, like your shock dart. But the thing is, Figment actually just threw it right in front of the entrance instead of trying to bounce it towards the back where the orb is, where some players will want to try to get those shock darts before. So having that and having his teammate close by to get the initial shots allowed them to just hold that push down. And I like that, at least to start. I don't think it was a luck play. I think it was calculated at that point. And we'll see if they could continue to move forward with this current second round.
Yeah, so Envy, I mean, they're certainly not concerned over a pistol round loss like that, but I think for Spot Up at this point, you're hunting the good stuff. You're looking for anything right here where you can feel good going into a map 2, or, you know, maybe have a comeback here of some miraculous conclusion that, you know, I won't try and preach the future here. I don't think that's going to happen. But that said, we have a lot of rounds left to play. Another map to play at the very minimum. So for Spot Up, I think, you know, keep the spirits high and make sure you're finding confidence against these guys with every single one of your gunfights. Like, you might not be the better or more skilled team here, you know, especially when Caboose is finding sheriff kills like that. Crash is actually collecting one as well. And suddenly, as I'm talking over this round, Envy has collected 3 kills and is in a 2-on-2 now. FNS will fall, but mummAy's through the B bomb site with the spike in hand. So if he collects 1 kill here maybe and sprints to A,
30 seconds.
This is a very winnable round for Envy.
Oh, man.
And as I say that, he gets absolutely denied by Kanpeki, who 180 goes one taps him. But a couple kills coming out for Envy on the eco. Not a whole lot that. Wait, was that a force? Did they all have stingers?
Yeah,
miss that somehow?
we had a couple
Oh
of
my
sheriffs, a
goodness.
couple of ghost
Force
stingers.
caster.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they armored up. My apologies. So this will actually be a second eco from Envy. And a good round from Spot Up. Every context that I just gave you, chat, is absolutely wrong. But it happens. Spot Up, though, at 10-4. Not out of this yet.
The thing is, for
Rebuying
Spot
some
Up,
SMGs
they're
too.
forced to buy some submachine guns into this round too, but thankfully they know that Envy's on that full save, right? So if they get a couple of kills here, and they even keep maybe a flawless victory, they might even just upgrade to the Phantoms and the Vandals into the next. So Spot Up playing it smart, really controlling the economy on their side too, despite losing, what, 3 players on that last round? And now that's a big opener to have. Caboose has been a one that continues to get these opening kills like he just did that previous round with only a Sheriff. He damages his opponent, but it's still a 5-player team alive, 2 of them very low on HP. So they're still it's still doable for Envy if they try to continue to press towards the A side to build the ultimate points on their end. But Spawn Up definitely look a little bit more, definitely look stronger on the defender side than they do on the attacker side. Let's put it at that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is their map pick, and it's certainly one that they're not going to be uncomfortable on. I mean,
Yeah.
the first half really is just Envy playing out of their mouth. Nice flick coming out from Finesse, and then mummAy picks up one as well into Rustun. Suddenly
It's the low
another
HP guys,
3-on-3.
right? So
Yes, low HP. However, still holding on to some utilities. mummAy, he's going to push in, grab one at a Tucker. Omen onto Omen. Spot Up now. A Sova and a Breach from A Heaven. A lot of utility left. Certainly not out of this round just yet. But Envy sitting in this post-plant position, knowing the clock is ticking away. These seconds ebbing by are all so important for Spot Up. They have to make their move here soon. Fault line's going to come out there for Generator. Flashes to follow. Can he get it done now? Pushing out of A Heaven is Bunny, finding the first on the food. Drops Hell. Falls to mummAy, and now it's Figment in a 1v1. Can FNS close this out for Envy? He cannot, but the bomb has ticked away too far. Spot Up will lose this round. Envy pushed to 11-4. A clean sweep. All 10 players fall on the server, and Envy collects it. Now, Spot Up in a disastrous situation, losing an eco round to Envy.
and that's the unfortunate part when you have 2 players that are so low on HP. I think that was specifically Rustun and Kanpeki. You still make it a 5-on-3, but because you're the 2 players playing on the A side, you can't really play out in the open, and you're trying to play a tight angle to try to surprise your opponents. But what does that do? It allows Envy to just push in into actually big numbers into the site, so that whenever they get spotted, it's still a tough battle because you one shot and you're dead. So then they both die simultaneously, which allows Envy to just get into the site and play the post-plant situation perfectly on their end and get a round where they're not supposed to win. It was full Spectres where there was only 1 player with small shields and pistols across the board for Envy, and now they run into this round with full armor, full weaponry, and probably some sort of a mix buy from Spawn Up, I think, at that point too.
I think we do see Kanpeki push the Reyna, so I imagine the rotates will probably lean towards mid and B, but there are still 2 players over at Catwalk that are probably going to make contact here in the next few seconds. That said, Envy creeping up mid ever slowly. Bomb's still over there at top mid near the generator, but falling off Catwalk is Spot Up, knowing that most of the presence right now is towards B and mid. Kanpeki again has all of that information over at A main. Rotates do go out, but they are so slow on it. Spot Up still is not moving despite the fact that they know it's a B split. They've known for the last 30 seconds and still have not rotated, so 1 player is left in the back of the bomb site. That is Rustun with it all to do. 4 players encroaching on him now. And he finds the first. Tucker finally comes in with a rotate and picks up 1, but they will both be collected, traded, and have fallen themselves. Now Envy 3-on-1. Bunny is not going to be able to do it. 12-4 match and map point for Envy. Spot Up, 8 rounds to tie it. This is going to be an uphill climb, to say the very least.
Yeah. And I don't know, I might have missed it at the beginning of the round where maybe 45 seconds or 30 seconds have passed, but when we were looking at Rustun in the back of the boathouse, he still had the turret up. So I don't know if it's because it got broken and it recharged and he put one up. I missed that detail. But at the same time, there was also 1 round on the first half where crashies was pushing all the way forward towards the A side and got those kills on the anti-eco. There was nothing that was set on the ground to watch the flanks either. So again, I think it's misplays on the kits that are available for Spawn Up right now that is deterring the way that they're playing Either it's the offensive side or the defender side. You see, at least into this round, you had that alarm bot on mid side that's going to give that information if they're still trying to go for the split for Envy. You finally have a turret as well on the defender side if they're trying to walk in and get some information on A as well. So this allows for the other players as a team for Spawn Up to start stacking up wherever they can, where they don't have that that arsenal or the kits necessary to help, and that's deeper on mid side, catwalk, and onto A main. And thankfully, with this broken buy that they have, Tucker gets the first blood. While they're still looking to trade this out, Food's just above him, and it's death from above. Vandal to take him down. It's a 4 versus 4. Food still looks to creep around here and play around this smoke, while the rest of them are walking back, towards this B main. They're going to follow it off the back of the Owl drone. We're going to put a molly onto the ground, the Nano Swarm, just to try to slow them down as much as they can. That's not going to do much. We have to try to get those frags with the Sheriffs once Envy gets into the site.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being put onto Rustun, but he doesn't give up a frag, which is important. Keeping it at a 4-on-4, and as I say that, Figment sprints in through CT with no help. Falls to Finesse, does pick up one, but crashies will get the other. And suddenly this is a 3-on-2. Both players in market. Kanpeki flies out into the operator of mummAy. Bunny will collect the trade, but dodging the Hunter's Fury's Bunny, and he's caught in a crossfire, and he does get the
Rolling
kill
Thunder.
at FNS.
There you go.
Literally a very winnable round. The ultimate comes out from Bunny. He does not connect, and he falls despite a classic dink to end it. Crashies finding the final frag. Envy 13-4. Map 1 goes to Envy.